Namaste, everyone. I'm Jenny, and I'm just going to briefly outline some basic principles for performing the yoga asana exercises and physical movements. Whilst yoga can benefit everyone, it is very important to be aware if you have any medical conditions, health issues or injuries, to seek the advice of your medical practitioner or health provider. All of the yoga asana, regardless of age, experience and fitness level, should be done mindfully, paying attention to your body's responses, and modifications should be done if discomfort or pain are felt. Try to move in and out of the postures slowly, following the breathing instructions. If you are new to yoga, start with the more basic movements, and as you practice and progress, gradually deepen the postures and try the more advanced work only if and when your body is ready. Yoga is very beneficial during and after pregnancy. However, you should always seek the approval of your medical practitioner or health provider before commencing any yoga practice. When you are pregnant, always practice more gently and modify the movements, responding to the changing needs of your body. Also, for pregnancy, after the first trimester, please don't compress the abdominal area, especially in forward bends. Side stretches, spinal twists and back bends should be done extremely gently with caution and may need to be stopped in the latter stages of pregnancy when the uterus is very heavy, especially if the lower back is uncomfortable. Stop, rest and relax whenever you need to. Yoga asana will bring you into a greater awareness of your body and the flow of energy which you can direct to all areas when working the movements to achieve greater internal health and well-being. Also, the asana, together with mindfulness and breathing practices, can be helpful in managing pain and increasing ease of movement, developing strength and balance throughout all the stages of your life. Enjoy. Namaste. JD Healing Vibes, Yoga Asana, seated hip releasing, inner and outer thigh stretching, Baddha Konasana, star pose, Akaran Dhanurasana, archer posture, preparation and variations. Namaste. everyone. Good evening. I'm Jenny from JD Healing Vibes. Tonight I'm going to run through a little yoga session with you. I've had a particularly hard and tiring day, so I've come to the yoga studio on Padma Shante to get a little bit of rest and recharging, some energizing, and also some lovely relaxing stretching. And tonight the yoga asana that I'm going to take you through will be focusing particularly on the hips, loosening the hips, releasing tension and tightness from the hips, and creating health and well-being throughout the body generally, and particularly focusing on the legs as well, stretching, toning and limbering the legs. Before starting any kind of yoga exercises, it's a good idea just to check, especially if you are a beginner, that your particular health status is suitable for doing yoga. Yoga is very beneficial to everybody, but it does need to be adapted to suit each individual's needs. So if you particularly have any injuries or health issues that you are working with at the moment, it's very important that you check with your health professionals, such as your doctor or physiotherapist, that they are happy for you to do yoga exercises. And also, as I'm going through these sequences with you, I will certainly be pointing out the benefits, also some of the adaptations that you may need to do for certain conditions, and we'll be doing some beginner type exercises particularly, but I will also be taking you through some perhaps a little bit more developed or deeper stretches for those people who are perhaps quite flexible already and don't have any injuries or health issues in the areas that we're working. So yes, very important to seek your health professional's advice before you start any kind of yoga exercises. And tonight we're focusing on the physical elements of yoga exercises, but as with all yoga exercises, they are only yoga if done mindfully and using the breath to help to work the postures efficiently, effectively, and to create balance and well-being for the individual. So let's get started. Now, the first yoga asana that I'm going to be doing tonight is called Baddha Konasana, and that's the Sanskrit term for it, and mostly it's referred to in its English translation as the star posture. And this one's particularly good for opening up the hips, loosening and limbering tightness in the hip joint and the thighs, and it also does loosen the knees as well and tones the abdominal area, and we're going to put a little forward bend element with it, which is going to help to also lengthen and stretch the spine as well. And I'll be pointing those elements out to you as we proceed. As this particular yoga asana does work the knees a little bit. If you do have any knee issues at all, or knee injuries particularly, please proceed carefully and mindfully. Stop and rest at any stage and modify any of the movements if you feel that they're causing strain or pain for you in any way. First thing is to make sure that you are sitting well and with a straight spine. So we need to first of all start from what we call the staff posture. So just sitting yourself down on the floor and stretch your legs out. Just doing a little bit of a shake of the legs first of all. And then leaning forward, moving from the hips as much as possible. Grabbing behind, pulling the buttocks out from underneath. So coming forward on the sit bones and then sitting up into a right angle position with your body. Lift up the shoulders, extending through the spine, bringing them right up towards your ears. Roll them back and relax them down. Your chin parallel to the ground, and this is the staff posture. If you find that this is a difficult posture to maintain, then to create more comfort, you can use a small cushion or even a rolled up blanket and just place a little bit of that underneath the first part of the buttocks, and that will help to keep you nice and upright, and it will release pressure in the lower back area. It's also for people who've got perhaps not such a strong core. Eventually, with practice over time, you'll develop the strength and control in the core, but initially, if it's your first or you're a beginner at the moment, it can be good practice to have that little cushion underneath the bottom. So try it out, see what you feel like. It's always better to be supported and making sure that your body is in good alignment rather than trying to struggle through if you're finding that perhaps you're not quite at that stage yet. So now we're going to move into Baddha Konasana, the star posture. So we start to bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together and begin to move the heels up towards the groin area. Wobble forward as much as you can on the sit bones. If you have to repad that little cushion underneath, then do that. And holding somewhere around about the ankle area. If you are finding that it's strong on the knees, then try moving the feet forward a little bit away from you. Also, if you've got perhaps one knee that's injured, one knee that's not injured, then work with the bad leg or the bad knee leg in a straight position, and particularly work one leg at a time, and that will make it a little bit easier for you. So firstly, we're going to do it's a nice little loosening movement, just rocking gently from side to side. And as you're doing this, you're feeling a nice stretch into the lower back area, and it's also starting to gently loosen up around the pelvic area for you. Once you've done that a few times, moving back into position, drawing the heels towards you a little more, making sure the spine is straight. You're just grabbing around the ankles, and then we're going to do a little bit of a bounce, just up and down to start to loosen up the hip joints a little bit more. And then begin to make bigger movements up and down, really starting to loosen up the hips and the thighs a little bit more. Once you've done that a few times, coming back, bringing the knees down as far as you can. Some people who are perhaps less flexible in the hips, you may find that your knees are up further like that. That's fine. You just work to wherever your current capacity is. Over time they'll become a little bit looser. Now bringing your hands and placing them around the front of the feet, so clasping around the toes and lifting up, extending through the spine, pressing the knees towards the floor as much as you can. So this is where we're going to move into a forward bend position now. We're going to get a bit of a spinal stretch too. So just take a deep, slow breath in. As you exhale, begin moving forward from the hips and bending your arms. Eventually, getting those arms to rest on the legs, making sure we keep the chest nice and open and the spine nice and straight. And then you're pressing down on the legs, holding there as you're breathing. Just working on keeping that open chest. And as you feel that little bit of extra pressure, we're stretching up through the inner thigh, hip area and the pelvic area. It's also a little massage into the belly. And then on your next inhalation, slowly coming back up, sitting up nice and straight. Relax the shoulders. So we're going to do that once again. Take a slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, moving forward, keep the chest open, lengthen the spine, bringing the arms down and pressing against the legs. Hold the pressure there as we inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. When you're working in your forward bend position, try and keep your neck in line with your spine so that we are not straining the neck at all. Now from here, we're going to work each side a little bit more. So bringing your left hand to the left knee and just press and release a few times. And you can see that we're just loosening and limbering that hip joint a little bit more. And then come back to centre, and then we'll do the other side. So right hand to right knee, press and release. Notice while you're working these movements if there feels any difference between one side and the other. Sometimes we've got one hip a little bit tighter than the other. We need to perhaps work it a little more. And then we're doing both at the same time. Press and release. Inhale as we release. Exhale, pressing down, moving forward a little bit more. Inhale, lifting. If your knees are higher up, then using crossed arms or even using your elbows to press the knees outwards a little bit more to work. It can work a little bit more effectively. If your knees are quite low to the ground and you've got fairly flexible hip joints, then the same hand to knee as I'm doing is probably the better way of working. But it's really important to experiment and just see what works better for you. Alright, now the final thing we're going to do is on our exhalation, bringing the arms forward and sliding the hands away, extending the spine, coming down a little bit further, and just take some slow, deep breaths. So this extends the stretch into the groin. Also lovely spinal stretch, massaging into the abdominal area. And then slowly inhale, sliding your hands back towards you and slowly coming back to sit upright. Let the shoulders relax. And then just to release the hips a little, place your hands behind you and lean back a little bit. And just still continues opening the hip joints, but there's not as much pressure. We're just allowing gravity to do the work this time. Just relax, letting those hips release a little bit more. Now this can be quite strong already for some people, but if you want to just slightly increase the strength of the movement, press the hands into the floor and lift up the bottom of the floor, but try and keep the knees down towards the floor as much as you can. So the bottom just comes up maybe a few centimetres. Just relax the shoulders back, keep the chin down so we're not straining the neck. And then exhale and slowly bring the bottom down. Bring your hands behind your knees and very slowly lift the knees up and together. And then release and stretch your legs around the front. A little shake of the legs, and then we'll do a little bit of releasing after quite a strong stretch. So bend the knees, a little bit of a pat to the inner thighs. Give your knees a little bit of a massage as well. And then just lean back, relax, and flop the knees and feet in and out. And then a little bit of a rock from side to side, and this will just release out the lower back since we've done quite a strong stretch for the lower back as well. Now just to counterpose that strong forward bend that we've done, we'll do a little asana which is called the tabletop, and I'm just going to turn sideways for this one. Now this one is quite a strength building posture, and it particularly is going to work on strengthening the core. It releases tension in the lower back, but it does work quite strongly on wrists, elbows and shoulders. So if you have issues, any injuries or issues with those areas, just work very mindfully and carefully. You don't have to hold the posture for very long if it's quite strong for you. So we just bring the hands back onto the floor behind us. The feet should be about hip width apart and the heels a little away from the body. And then as we inhale, lift the bottom. If it's very strong, you don't have to go very high with the bottom, but if you find that you can go high, what we try and aim for is coming into parallel to the ground, and the chin should point toward the chest. I'm just looking towards you because it's better for me to actually keep your eye contact with you, but if you're doing it at home, you're looking forward, keeping your chin pointing towards your chest. And we just do a little rock forwards and backwards. Keep the buttocks nice and engaged so that we get that core element. And then come back to centre, lower the bottom slowly down onto the floor. And then just going to turn back around and stretch your legs out after doing a strong stretch for the wrists. Just give them a little release, squeeze in and out, and shake, and give the shoulders a bit of a shrug up and down, loosen and release. Now we're going to continue on with the hip series. Also we're going to be working on some other aspects of stretching through the legs as well. We've just done quite a bit of work on the inner thighs and opening up the hip joints. So I'm going to do a little asana series that works particularly on stretching the outer thigh area now. Outer thighs are very important because if we end up getting tight around the outer thigh, we can actually have problems that work up into the lower back, and we can also get pinching of the sciatic nerve, which can cause a condition called sciatica. So these movements and asana that I'm going to show you now are very good for helping to avoid sciatica, or if you do have sciatica, doing them gently will help to release that sciatic nerve and help to release the that nerve pinching that sometimes happens. So once again, we start from staff posture, Dandasana, grabbing the buttocks, pull the buttocks out, and coming and sitting up in the center. Bring your shoulders towards your ears, roll them back, and let them relax down. Chin parallel to the ground, nice straight spine, engaging the core, bottom and tummy tucked in. And remember your little cushion. For those of you that found that was helpful, this will be helpful in this sequence as well. Just pop it underneath your bottom. Not all the way, remember, just to about the first third of the way. So I'm going to get you to start with your left leg. I'm doing a mirror image here. So bending your left knee, place your left hand on the knee, lift up your foot and grab the foot with your right hand. And then we're going to just loosen this hip joint up by swinging the knee from side to side. If you feel that you need to rest at any stage, just to bring your leg down, have a little rest, come back and join me when you're ready. From here, we're going to rotate the knee around, so working into the hip joint, loosening up that hip joint, helping to lubricate, getting the synovial fluid moving in the hip joint. Reverse the direction. And then coming and sitting back in the centre. Now we're going to work a little bit more strongly on this stretch through the outer thigh. So we're going to bring our hands to the foot, and for those who are able to place their foot in the crook of the right elbow, that's what you're doing. If you can't reach there, just rest it anywhere on that right arm. And then the left arm is coming round, sort of like cradling a baby here. Make sure we stay upright, back nice and straight. You can either clasp your hands or your hands may be further up the leg. It's wherever you are able to work from. And then once again, we're going to do that little side to side movement. So this is really starting to stretch more through the outer thigh, the top part of the hamstring where it meets up with the hip joint, the pelvis. And then back to centre. So here, working a little bit more strongly now. So we take a deep breath in, just release the pressure, just open up a little bit. On your exhalation, we lift up the lower leg and then press the shin in toward the chest a bit more. Hugging the shin in and hold. And as you're holding, you just breathe in a relaxed way. And then inhale, release again. Just let the leg go away from you a bit. On your exhalation, lift and then squeeze in and hold. When you're holding the position, just make sure that you continue to breathe in a relaxed way. Now while we're holding now, I'm just going to get you to do a little bit of a rock forwards and backwards. And that will help to just stretch out this top part of the hamstring area. And then come back to the centre, breathing in, relax a little. Now the next asana, moving on to deepen the stretch even more. This one's pretty much for people who are used to yoga, pretty advanced, and also who are quite flexible. So don't worry about it if you're a beginner. Just keep working on this position here, or rest. For the people who are a little bit more advanced, we're going to work on what's called the archer posture. So from here, we're lifting up the foot so that it's level, the big toe is level with your eyes. You can see a big toe. And then just carefully moving the big toe towards the right ear. And then bring left arm up. Exhale, bring the left hand towards the foot. And sitting up as straight as you can. And then inhale, bring the arm up. Exhale, bring your arm down and slowly bring the left leg down so that we are now resting the ankle just above the knee of the right leg. Just make sure that you haven't got your ankle bone pressing into the soft part of your thigh, so that can create discomfort. And then doing just a little bit more opening up of the thigh by pressing. Now, if you've got knee issues and this is really uncomfortable, a more gentler version is to bring that foot to the floor and do it from there. For those who don't have any particular knee restrictions, then having that foot elevated will just give a little bit more of a stretch. And then for people whose knees are good, no injuries to the knee, then moving into the half lotus where we bring the foot up further in, tucking it into the groin area and then pressing down on the knee. So that's going to work both the hip joint and also the knee joint quite strongly, loosening and lubricating the joint. And then coming up and gently release and stretch the leg out. A little shake of the legs. So you feel all of that area has been worked, so a little bit of a pat, a little bit of a massage around the lower back. And then once again we do this releasing movement, relax back, flop the knees and the feet, and then doing rocking from side to side. And then as a bit of a counter pose for the people whose arms are good, no shoulder, elbow or wrist injuries, then lifting up the bottom off the floor and rocking gently from side to side. Come back to centre, lower the bottom to the floor, coming back into the staff posture, re-pad yourself to come back into that good alignment once again. And we're going to do that all on the other side, on the other leg. So you're going to be bending your right knee and lifting the foot, grab the foot with the left hand, and we start with that nice swing into the hip joint. And as you're working the different sides, be mindful of any differences. Maybe you've got one side that's got more tension or stiffness, or perhaps you've had a little bit of an injury at one stage. And sometimes we just have to work a little bit more on that side that needs a bit more stretching, eventually trying to bring the body back into balance. And then rotate the knee around, so we're rotating into the hip joint. And reverse. So these particularly good for helping to prevent arthritis of the hips and the knees, because we're encouraging the synovial fluid to move and lubricate the joint so it doesn't dry up. Coming back to the centre also helps to encourage production of that synovial fluid. Now we're going to continue the sequence, bringing the right foot into the crook of the left elbow and the right arm hugging around. Remember, you can modify that if that's a little bit too strong or you can't get your arms around, because if your arms are not quite as long, sometimes you'll have to just slightly modify as well. And then we're doing that side to side movement again. Just being mindful that we're sitting up nice and straight. That's the way. And then back to the centre. So now we're doing this quite strong stretch into this outer thigh. Breathing in, just release, relax the tension. Exhale, lift the lower leg and then squeeze the shin in towards the chest. holding that squeeze. Relax the shoulders, sitting nice and tall. Deep breaths. And then inhale, release, have a little bit of a rest. And we'll do another one of those. So on your exhalation, lift and squeezing towards the chest. Holding tightly. Breathe in a relaxed way, and then we're going to do that little rock forwards and backwards. So stretching the top part of the hamstring that joins up with the pelvic area. That's the way, and then coming back to centre. So remember, just keep working on this for those who are beginners. For the people who are a bit more flexible and more experienced, we're going to do the archer posture. So bringing the hands to the foot, lifting the foot so you can actually bring the big toe to eye level, and then pushing the big toe in towards your left ear. Breathing in, raise the right arm. Exhale, bringing the hand towards the toes, sitting up as tall as you can. Hold and breathe. Good. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, lower the arm and lower your leg. Bringing the ankle to rest just above the knee, making sure the ankle joint isn't pressing into the fleshy part of the thigh. And let's do that little press again. Again, this one's now opening up, a little bit like that star posture that we did earlier. Remember, if that's too strong, bring the foot down and just work from that position if it's too strong on the knee. Don't strain. Very important with knees that you're mindful, especially if you've got any conditions of the knee. And then for those whose knees are fine, bringing the foot up into the groin area for the half lotus and giving that a nice press down. So working both the knee joint and also the hip joints. Also will work, some people will work the foot as well. Good. And then sitting up and gently release and stretch the leg out. Add a little shake with the thigh area that we worked there. Just massage the both knees and lean back, relax and flock the knees and the feet. Good. And then rocking again, so lifting the bottom, rocking gently from side to side. Coming back to centre. Now we're going to do that tabletop position again, because again it's also a good little counter pose. And we'll take it a little bit further this time for the people who are wanting to just go a little bit more into an advanced posture. So when we raise up, if you want to come down and not continue with the more advanced work, just come down when you feel you've worked enough. So from here, we're going to push up the bottom, coming to thighs parallel to the ground, engage the buttocks, and then breathing in, raising the left leg up. Try not to drop the right buttock and hold. Keep breathing though. Exhale, bring the foot down, just coming back into the centre, and then inhale, bring the right leg up, keeping that left buttock raised. Exhale, coming down, lifting up, and just rocking a little forwards and backwards. And to centre, and then slowly lower the bottom, release. Stretch the legs out, keep the wrists, a little release, squeeze in and out. And just before we finish up this little sequence tonight, Let's do a neck stretch because we've done quite a bit of work on shoulders and we've had to move our head in various ways. So it's good to release the neck to finish off. So bring your right palm down onto the floor beside you. Just make sure you're sitting up straight. Don't have to be cross-legged. You can have legs stretched out and back up against the wall if you prefer. And then turning left palm upwards, breathing in, raise the left arm, take it over your head and clasp your right ear, and then firmly pressing your head over towards the left. Just holding that for a couple of breaths. And then bringing your right arm up, stretch it out as far as you can. And then rotating the arm so the palm goes back and up and hold. And then rotating back to center. And then rotating the arm as far as you can the other way and hold. And then rotating and taking the arm down. Just release so that you can bring your head up gradually. Stretch and exhale, bringing left palm down to the floor, right palm up. Inhale, raising the right arm, fold it over, clasp your ear, pressing your head this time towards the right. Just hold for a couple of deep breaths. And then bringing the left arm up, stretching it out and rotating the arm, palm going all the way up and hold. Rotating palm down and all the way the other way up and hold. Rotate the palm down, bringing the arm slowly down. Release your head, bring your head back to center, stretch, exhale, bring the arm down, hands onto the legs, and let's do some nice shoulder shrugs to release tension around the neck. And then bring the shoulders up and very slowly rotating your head around to release neck tension. And reverse the direction of the circles. And then bring your head back to center and relax the shoulders down. And I hope you all have a very pleasant evening or day, if that happens to be where we are. And namaste, everybody.